what up? This is my WWE Survivor Series 2008 pay-per-view review. The opening match was one of the traditional Survivor Series matches with Team Shawn Michaels, consisting of Shawn Michaels, Rey Mysterio, Great Khali, and Cryme Time versus Team JBL of JBL, Kane, MVP, Miz, and Morrison. And I feel this was the better of the elimination matches between this one and the other elimination match they did later on in the evening. You saw some good stuff in here. Rey Mysterio did a lot of good stuff in here. Pretty much this was probably one of the best I've seen Rey do in a little while, especially after his very lackluster feud with Kane. He did a lot of very good stuff in here. Miz and Morrison, they did some stuff with Cryme Time. The way the eliminations went was first elimination was MVP eliminating JTG. Then Khali eliminates MVP. Rey Mysterio eliminates Kane. Miz eliminates Chad Gaspar. So Cryme Time's out of there. Next elimination comes with Rey Mysterio eliminating The Miz. Then up next you have Shawn Michaels and JBL brawling in the ring, brawling outside the ring. And JBL, as they're brawling, he gets counted out. Shawn gets in the ring before the 10 count. So JBL's eliminated via count out. So obviously the Shawn Michaels and JBL feud's gonna they'll probably have another match. They'll probably have a match between each other at the Armageddon pay-per-view coming up on December 14th. I think that's the date of it. And the way the match ends after that, you have pretty much it being all three of them with John Morrison out there. Looks like John Morrison's going to be able to eliminate Shawn Michaels. He doesn't. Shawn ducks it. Hits him with a super kick. Shawn Michaels pins him. So the surviving team of Shawn Michaels, Khali, and Rey Mysterio survive for their team. So Team Shawn Michaels wins in a 3 1/4 star match. A lot of good stuff and a very good overall opener. Then up next was the women's elimination Survivor Series match with Team McCool with McCool, Maryse, Natty Neidhart, Victoria, and Maria versus Team Beth Phoenix of Beth Phoenix, Mickie James, Kelly, Jillian Hall, and Candice Michelle. And just like you would expect, this was pretty much a waste of a match being on a pay-per-view. Would have rather, I know they've been doing this with the women on Survivor Series the last couple of years, but I much would have rather seen a women's title defense other than this. Pretty much a, clusterfuck. You saw some okay stuff in there. I would say at best maybe watchable, but like you were expecting from this match, it didn't deliver that much. The way the match ends is it ends with Beth Phoenix on her team and Maryse on the other team being the final two. They take on each other. You see them go back and forth a little bit, and Beth Phoenix is the sole survivor, so she wins it for her team. And at best, 1 3/4 stars. Okay women's match at best. Then just what you would expect between them two. Then up next was the Undertaker versus Big Show in the casket match, and God, this was a very, very lackluster match. Wasn't expecting anything from these two because, as I've stated before, with any of their matches, I haven't been a fan of at all. And this was pretty much like the other ones, but even worse, I would say. Not worse, but about average, what they've been doing. A lot of back and forth punches, brawling outside the ring. Undertaker has Big Show placed onto a table, hits him with a leg drop, and they brawl up on the stage. At one point or another, you see them, try to put each other in the casket. Big Show plays that, he's scared of the casket because he has Undertaker in the casket, but, he's motioning to the refs to close it, and the referees say, we can't close it, you have to be the one to close it. Then you see Undertaker get out of there, you see them brawl for a little bit, then Big Show at one point or another later on knocks down that casket, you see them brawl up to the stage, and then you see a casket brawl out to the, balled out onto the stage, and it gets placed up. See them brawl back and forth in a very weak finish where the casket's put up, Big Show gets thrown through it, knocks down, so Undertaker wins. The casket closes. A very lackluster casket match. I thought with that stipulation it might have helped it out. 2 1/4 stars at best, and that's probably being a little generous to it. Then the next matchup was the other Survivor Series elimination match with Team Batista versus Team Orton. Team Batista consisting of Batista, R-Truth, CM Punk, Kofi Kingston, and Matt Hardy versus Team Randy Orton of Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, Shelton Benjamin, William Regal, and Mark Henry. And I was expecting a lot from this match. I wasn't expecting the other Survivor Series elimination match to be better, but I don't know, for some reason or another, this was a pretty lackluster Survivor Series match. You thought they would have done more. Very quick in the match. As soon as the match starts, CM Punk hits William Regal with the go to sleep. William Regal is the first one eliminated. Then after that, Shelton Benjamin eliminates R-Truth. I was hoping that R-Truth and Shelton would have done a little more in this match, but that's still building up a feud between them two, so at least it makes sense doing it like that. Then the next elimination comes with Randy Orton eliminating Kofi Kingston. I felt they kind of dragged on his elimination. Knew he was going to get eliminated, but they kind of dragged it on maybe a minute or two longer than what they probably should have. Then Cody Rhodes eliminates CM Punk, which I'm actually probably one of the very few that is a fan of Cody Rhodes, but definitely didn't want him to be the one to eliminate CM Punk. But with the feud between CM Punk and Kofi Kingston teaming up versus Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase, at least it makes sense for storyline purposes. Then the next elimination comes when Matt Hardy gets eliminated by Mark Henry. Then after this, Batista eliminates Mark Henry. See Batista start eliminating people like crazy. Then he eliminates Shelton Benjamin. And then after those two eliminations, he powerbombs. Looks like he's going to get the pinfall on Cody Rhodes and eliminates him. But before that, Randy Orton got the blind tag to Cody Rhodes, so he was the legal man. Cody Rhodes wasn't. And then out of nowhere, Randy Orton RKOs Batista, and that's the end of the match. So Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton surviving members on that team in a 2 3/4 star match. Match I was expecting a little more from than what it actually delivered. Then up next was the WWE title match with Triple H versus Vladimir Koslov, which it was intended to be a triple threat with Jeff Hardy involved. But everyone knows the storyline that they went with, which I thought was a very, very distasteful storyline, with them saying that Jeff Hardy was found unconscious in a hotel room, and obviously leading to as many deaths there have been in wrestling. You know, even though I knew from the beginning when I heard the news this morning, especially the way they worded it on their website, I pretty much knew from the beginning that it sounded like a work, but still the idea of it was very distasteful, and especially, you know, just 10 days ago was 3 years after Eddie Guerrero's death, and then after last year's the Benoit tragedy. It was kind of a distasteful angle to do, but then they're leading this to a storyline with Edge, which he was the one that attacked Jeff Hardy. They obviously didn't say it on this pay-per-view, but with the way this match ended, which I'll get to, this is the way the match was. It was Triple H versus Vladimir Koslov. They went back and forth for a little bit. Very, very bland and boring match between those two. Nothing that you would write home about. Then you see Vicky Guerrero come out there, and she says repeatedly a couple times, he's here, which made you think, you know, maybe Jeff Hardy's going to come out here and surprisingly win the title. That didn't happen. Edge's music hit. Edge comes out here. He hits Triple H with a spear. Then Jeff Hardy comes out here. He had his head bandaged up to sell off the storyline with him getting hit with a blunt object, which obviously with him interfering and trying to cost Edge the match. Obviously, you know, that's the person that did attack Jeff Hardy. And then after this, you see Jeff Hardy get a steel chair. He tries to hit Edge. Edge ducks. He hits Triple H. And then Edge pins Triple H. So Edge is the new WWE Champion. Didn't like the way he won it, but it makes sense for his character at least. And you know the way Triple H is going to only lose the title is a very lackluster and kind of clusterfuck of a storyline to have him lose the title and just have Edge win it. But hopefully we'll get a good Edge versus Jeff Hardy match. You know, this match, you know, the stuff they did with Koslov and Triple H, not that spectacular. And then Edge coming out there and just winning the title very quick, which I do like that Edge won the title. I just, you know, hate that half of his title reigns have came like this. But like I said, at least it makes sense for his heel persona. But this match, I would say at best, you know, 2 stars. And that probably helps. It probably helps out getting 2 stars because Edge came out there, won the title, you know, in shocking fashion, like he has won, you know, a good amount of his title reigns in WWE. Then the main event was Chris Jericho versus John Cena for the World Heavyweight title. Just like you expect, these two put on a very good match. Obviously, the crowd, being John Cena is from Boston, the crowd was pretty much all pro Cena and anti Chris Jericho. saw them. It started off a little slow, then it built up. I thought they did some good stuff between each other. Definitely, you know, even though at the end, which I'm going to give it away right now, which everyone already knows by now anyway, that John Cena is the new WWE Champion. They go back and forth a little bit. Chris Jericho gets put in the STFU. He gets to the ropes, then he backs out of it. Then you see Jericho get put into the FU. Cena hits the FU for the victory, and he's the new World Heavyweight Champion for the Raw brand, which I think is a good idea. And like I said before, I think, you know, John Cena's probably going to have a good, lengthy title run. You know, possibly he could be that one guy to help out the prestige of the title after all these lackluster title reigns they've been having on the Raw brand. Hopefully, you know, him possibly, you know, have a good, lengthy title run, possibly till WrestleMania or Backlash. And obviously everyone probably is already expecting, which probably is going to most likely happen, I would say, is a Batista versus John Cena match at WrestleMania. Other things you look for as far as the way this pay-per-view went out. Don't know what the match for the Raw brand will be for the title at Armageddon, but it definitely looks like with the way they did the interference and the way Edge won the title, I wouldn't be surprised if they do a four-way for the title with Triple H versus Koslov versus Edge versus Jeff Hardy, which, you know, pretty much everyone in there except Koslov can put on a good match. So that could possibly be a good four-way if they do it, just as long as Koslov ain't in the match too much. In the main event, I would give, you know, it was a solid main event. I thought they could have possibly pulled out something better, but 3.5 stars, possibly even 3 3/4 stars. They did pull off some good stuff, but yeah, I'll definitely say 3.5 stars. You know, solid main event, but not a great main event. I was expecting a little more from them. Overall, you know, this pay-per-view had a good opener and a solid main event. Everything else was, you know, decent, you know, at least watchable. So I'll at least give this, you know, a little over passing probably. So I'll give this, you know, a 6.5 out of 10. I know that might be, you know, giving it a little too much, but I like the opener, I like the main event, and the, you know, Survivor Series elimination match with Batista, Team Batista versus Team Orton was pretty good. But like I said, everything else was like you would expect anyway. It was pretty lackluster. So overall, I give this pay-per-view a 6.5 out of 10, and that's my pay-per-view review of WWE Survivor Series 2008. Peace.